I recognize the fact that what I'm saying is incredibly redundant, and I know you've heard me for the millionth time, and I'm going to say it for the millionth time because I think it's important and critical that everybody understands what this is. There is no way that if there exists any kind of a law, any kind of criminal justice system, that Diddy should be found guilty of anything. And this may confound you, it may bother you, great, because he's not guilty of what they charged him with in federal court. You don't throw these terms around. You don't say things like trafficking and racketeering in violation of the Mann Act and the White Slavery Statute because a couple of people were involved in what appeared to be basically a big house party and orgy run amok. If you go through this, if you go through the facts of this, that's what's important. And that's what I've been talking and saying. The idea of a racketeering conspiracy is ridiculous. This was no enterprise. This was not the mafia. This was not the Colombos or the Lucchese's. This was a celebrity entourage, a group, a posse. Notice I spelled it P-O-S-S-E. There is no relatedness. There was no enterprise. There is the relatedness component of this, where you can say that the alleged acts and the drugs and the sex and the money and all of that stuff were isolated incidents, not a part of a coordinated plan. And second of all, there's no continuity. No relatedness, no continuity. The incidents were episodic, chaotic, abusive to be sure, but not organized, not systemic. No one was employed in a criminal network. Friends and girlfriends and staff all voluntarily were present in the orbit, the gravitational pull of fame and excess. And that's the way that is. Simple. Simple. A house party, an orgy, isn't a racketeering enterprise. And to suggest that this was sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion is an abomination to the people who have been, in fact, actually involved in that. I would be furious if I was a practitioner. I would be furious. Consent, intent, whatever you want to call it, these were adult relationships at best. Messy, toxic, even manipulative, but they were not, were not trafficking. Agency and participation is another one. Agency as in being an agent. The victims, the putative victims, remained in relationships. They took money and accepted gifts and traveled by choice. No commercial sex arrangement, forced or brokered, was there. It was intimate. It wasn't transactional. It was in the legal sense. Force, fraud, coercion. This is the thing. Did they ever call the police? Were there threats or just power imbalances? Intimidation versus a threat. Did people feel like they couldn't say no based upon the power differential? Did the prosecution prove intent to exploit? There was seduction, to be sure, but not sex trafficking. This is what is critical. And as far as transportation for prostitution, the White Slavery Statute, the Mann Act violation. Again, act or definition. No one was trafficked across state lines for prostitution. There was a private relationship, not a pimping. This wasn't assignation and all these other great common law crimes. You have to look at the definition of prostitution. Was sex offered for money, or was it part of a consensual, romantic, celebrity lifestyle? No. This is the most important thing. Did the alleged victims, did they choose to travel for parties and events and relationships? Were they told to perform for pay? The prosecution has got to prove that Diddy intended to have someone cross state lines for illegal sex work. Period. End of discussion. And proving that beyond a reasonable doubt and beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt within a degree of moral certainty is very tough, to say the least. They travel for this is a defense spectacle. I have no earthly idea what motivated the Biden administration to involve themselves in this. I have no earthly idea whatever motivated them in the least to even pursue this. What were they thinking? What was the purpose of this? What? No one knows. No one can figure this thing out. Nobody can. I can't. I'm wondering why. What was the purpose of this? Why did you do this? What were you trying to accomplish? Why? What was the point? We don't know. This happens all the time. This was Hugh Hefner, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. This has been going on. They do football games, and you know, I've asked this question. There's about like 2,000 to 3,000 maybe total professional athletes in baseball, football, basketball in the United States, and of that group, of those folks, of that team, of that group, there are probably more independent groups negotiating parties and passels and hordes and orgies of women that you can imagine all the time. It's been going on since day one, and that's not right. It's immoral, fine, but it's not federal, and it's not. And if there is a God, he must be acquitted, because we cannot live in a system that would allow somebody to be, in essence, violated, to be, what am I trying to say, to be charged with this, to be prosecuted, merely because we don't like his sexual activities. Federal trafficking, think children, think people padlocked in trailers and tractor trailers and brought and transported and flown, and oh my God. He must be acquitted. If that jury is even 10% efficient, they've got to throw this out. And if by some stretch of the imagination he's found guilty of this, then they'll get him on appeal. They'll reverse it on appeal. This is horrible. Remember, if they had charged him with murder or arson, nobody would be saying anything about it since. In any event, think about this, my friends. Have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. Please. And also, I beg you to comment. That's right, comment. Did I say comment? Yes, comment as you see